policy to attract 300 billion ringgit of green investments by 2030. Malaysia Madani, I'm Shuhaida Arifin and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. The Putra Economic Transformation Plan 2035, Putra 35, was launched today as a major shift in advancing Putra development towards making Malaysia a regional economic leader. When launching Putra 35 in Putrajaya, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who is also the Minister of Finance, said, as time changes, the country needs a new plan that will drive the Putra agenda to greater heights.
Iaitu negara harus dipacu dengan tahap kelajuan yang lebih meyakinkan. Dalam masa yang sama, negara masih bertapak kepada kenyataan bahawa pemacuan ini tidak harus meminggirkan mana-mana pihak. Pimpinan dan juga masa beredar yang menuntut generasi penerus memikir langkah-langkah berikut yang harus dijamin lebih berkesan.
Putra 35 was introduced to raise the status and dignity of Putra in line with the aspirations of the Madani economy, including empowering the people initiative and the 2030 agenda for sustainable development, which will allow Malaysians to enjoy a better quality of life. It encompasses 3 core areas, 12 growth drivers, and 132 comprehensive initiatives in empowering and advancing Putra development. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister emphasised that the introduction of Putra 35 will never set aside the interests of other races in the country. In this regard, Datuk Seri Anwar also urged all Putra empowerment agencies to plan their programs responsibly and with full accountability. He said those who manage Putra agencies would be considered the biggest traitors if they succumb to corruption and poor governance.
Maka mereka harus pastikan proses pelaksanaan itu lebih teliti, lebih cekap, lebih bertanggungjawab. Dan saya ucap tahniah kepada agensi-agensi penguatkuasaan, masuk SPRM ataupun Commercial Crime ataupun LHDN dan lain-lain. Dan baru-baru ini, kuasa yang lebih diberikan kepada Ketua Audit Negara untuk masuk dan memantau. Kerana ini prasyaratnya. Kalau tidak kita curah berbilion, dia masih tiris dan bocor dan kesannya tidak sampai ke peringkat akar bumi.
The government is committed to ensuring that the Putra agenda continues to be prioritised in every national socio-economic development plan. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said this will not deny the rights of other races. On the contrary, it will be able to benefit all races in terms of the development and progress of the country. Speaking during the launch of Putra 35 today, Rafizi said there's still plenty of room and opportunity for Putra to rise, to be level in economic status as their friends from other races and even compete on the world stage.
Kita sedia maklum bahawa masih ada banyak isu yang perlu diselesaikan. Seperti status sosioekonomi yang pada masa ini golongan Putra masih lagi terperangkap di dalam kelas menengah dan sederhana, serta penyertaan Putra yang tertumpu lebih banyak dalam aktiviti yang mempunyai nilai ditambah yang rendah. Ini secara tidak langsung akan menyebabkan jurang pendapatan dan kekayaan antara etnik semakin melebar.
He also said limited capital and support at the initial stage, especially startup companies, are also factors in the issues, which in turn causes continued dependence on grants and government funding. The parties involved in the procurement of military assets and the construction of military facilities will be rotated every 3 years to prevent misconduct, including corruption. Without providing further details, Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin stated that those involved in military asset procurement will not remain in their positions for long to ensure that the procurement process is free from corruption and abuse of power. Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid said that this measure aligns with the advice of His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim, King of Malaysia, who urged the government to improve integrity in military asset procurement.
Saya percaya yang penting kita ambil saranan daripada pihak kerajaan, iaitu supaya mereka yang menjadi yang menentukan spesifikasi ataupun yang menilai, mungkin kita akan rotate. Dia tidak kekal lama. Maknanya every 3 years kita akan ubah. Itulah antara yang kita akan buat.
Speaking after attending the launch of the Ministry Fly di Jalur Gemilang program in conjunction with the 2024 National Month celebration, he said the ministry relies on the budget approved by the Ministry of Finance before determining the type of assets required. The number of malicious and false statements spread by SMS or social media platforms have become too widespread. The public is advised to be careful and not fall for such ploys and sharing or forwarding such messages. Remember that spreading fake news is an offence under Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. This carries the penalty of a fine not exceeding 50,000 ringgit or up to 1 year imprisonment or both upon conviction. Coming up next, strengthening R&D infrastructure to empower Malaysia in global research. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim wants all parties to support and play a role in achieving Malaysia's aspirations to be among the top 20 countries in terms of artificial intelligence AI technology. For that purpose, he wants researchers, developers and decision makers to work together to develop and adopt AI-related technology responsibly and ethically.
Saya menyeru masyarakat akademik dan profesional, masyarakat dan pemerintah untuk terlibat dalam menilai, merancang dan menerapkan teknologi ini demi kesejahteraan sejagat. Saya berharap lebih banyak kolaborasi, lebih banyak kemitraan dan pengintegrasian ilmu dapat dilaksanakan. Adalah amat penting untuk membina kesatuan dalam tindakan wahdatul amal di sebalik kerencaman pemikiran supaya tercetus lebih banyak inovasi.
He said this in his opening speech at the International Conference on Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Computing, Engineering and Education Science (INVEN 2024) at UiTM Shah Alam today. His speech text was read out by Deputy Higher Education Minister Datuk Mustafa Sakmut. Datuk Seri Anwar said that despite helping to improve the quality of life, efficiency and creativity of humans, the modern and dynamic generative AI technology also has a dark side that society needs to be aware of. The Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry (MITI) aims to attract 300 billion ringgit worth of green investments by 2030 to achieve Malaysia's net zero emission commitments. Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said Malaysia achieved realised green investments of about 40 billion ringgit between 2017 and 2023.
Kalau you look at this is about 7.5 times increase that we need, and this is 7.5 kali ganda peningkatan, dan ini juga selari dengan NETR lah. NETR pun mengatakan kita nak mencapai kira-kira 300 bilion ringgit untuk dalam dekad yang akan datang, so that we can get to the net zero by 2050. That's why tadi penting kita capai investment of 300 billion ini supaya kita dapat ke net zero by 2050. Dan
he said this at a Green Investment Strategy Media Conference in Kuala Lumpur. According to him, the Green Investment Strategy was designed taking into account various key policies to ensure a holistic, complementary approach with no overlapping. It complements the country's long-term policies such as the 12 Malaysia Plan, setting the direction for an inclusive and sustainable economic development. In terms of socio-economic growth, he said the Green Investment Strategy is expected to contribute 80 billion ringgit to the gross domestic product and create 350,000 high-skilled jobs by 2030. Strengthening research and development R&D infrastructure, especially in personalised medicine and digital healthcare, will empower the country as a leader in global research and a hub for cutting-edge medical research. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Chang Lee Kang said, investing in R&D drives economic growth by fostering innovation, creating high-tech jobs and enhancing global competitiveness.
Malaysia's contributions to medical research continue to gain recognition on the global stage. In 2023, Malaysia hosted over 1,200 sponsored clinical trials, significantly increasing from previous years. This growth positions our country as a key player in clinical research in Southeast Asia, particularly in therapeutic areas such as oncology and infectious diseases.
Speaking at the 2024 RBS Research Grant recipient announcement, Chang said the ministry is committed to building on this momentum to further strengthen the nation's position in the global medical research community. He added the goal is to increase Malaysia's gross expenditure on research and development to 3.5% of the GDP by 2030, a testament to the ministry's commitment to innovation and economic growth. The Ministry of Energy Transition and Water Transformation, Putra, has handed over 3 completed projects to the Terengganu State Government with a combined value of 141.27 billion ringgit. Deputy Minister Akmal Narsullah Muhammad Nasir said they include flood mitigation projects in Guntung Luar, Setia and Gongkiat Kuala Terengganu, as well as the Sungai Pakar Estuary Conservation Project. The projects were executed by the ministry through the Department of Irrigation and Drainage.
Selepas selesai projek ini siap untuk tempoh setahun 2 ini, masalah yang berlaku melibatkan banjir di kawasan tersebut berjaya diatasi. Manakala macam projek yang berada di muara Sungai Pakar ini, ianya bukan sahaja menyelesaikan masalah banjir pantai, tetapi sebenarnya memberi ruang kepada bot-bot nelayan untuk kembali lalui kawasan tersebut dengan mudahlah.
Speaking at the project handover ceremony, he said the ministry currently has 23 ongoing projects in Terengganu under the Department of Irrigation and Drainage with a total cost of 2.4 billion ringgit. He explained that 18 projects are continuations, while 5 are new, focusing on flood mitigation, coastal erosion and riverbank rehabilitation, as well as drainage systems. Kuala Lumpur has successfully hosted the second Asia Convention Alliance Association Forum AKHAF 2024. Under the theme Business, Events and Technology with Sustainability, it brought together almost 100 industry leaders from across Asia, including Thailand, Taiwan and South Korea. Business Development Director, Malaysia Convention and Exhibition Bureau, MyCEB, Nur Azlan Abu Bakar hopes this gathering will serve as a catalyst for transformative ideas and collaborative breakthroughs.
Technology as a very important element in organizing conference and also exhibition. This also contribute to the sustainability. Because, for example, like during the current MBEW, instead of we use book, a manual book, we change into apps, conference app. So it reduces the printing of papers.
ICAAF was organised in conjunction with the Malaysia Business Events Week 2024, happening from 19th to 23rd of August at the KL Convention Centre. Next year's forum will be hosted by Seoul, South Korea. Hong Leong Investment Bank HLIB has revised its 2024 gross domestic product GDP forecast for Malaysia upward to 5% from 4.8% previously. It expects the economic expansion to be sustained in the second half of the year, backed by higher household spending and tourist arrivals, as well as supportive income measures such as the civil servant wage hike. The investment bank said continued improvement in trade activity is also expected to boost GDP growth, aided by the low base effect and gradual recovery in the global tech sector. Additionally, ongoing progress in multi-year projects and strong investment plans, as indicated by the Malaysia Investment Development Authority's approval of 83.7 billion ringgit worth of investments in the first quarter of this year, are expected to support investment growth. Meanwhile, Public Investment Bank said following the robust performance in the second quarter of the year, the 5.1% GDP growth in the first half of 2024 has already exceeded its full-year target of 4.7%. It said, given the sustained positive growth drivers, which are expected to continue supporting economic momentum in the second half of this year, it anticipates that GDP could surpass the upper bound of the official target range. Foreign investors returned to Bursa Malaysia following the previous week's heavy sell-off, recording a net buying of 299.6 million ringgit in Malaysian equities. In its fund flow report, MIDF Amanah Investment Bank Berhad, MIDF, noted that while foreign investors recorded net sales of 74.3 million ringgit on Monday, they were net buyers for the remainder of the week. MIDF said the strongest day of net buying was on Friday, with 288.3 million ringgit recorded. The top three sectors attracting net buying by foreign investors last week were financial services, telecommunications and media, and transportation and logistics. Conversely, the top three sectors that saw net sales by foreign investors were technology, property and industrial products, and services. In contrast, MIDF said local institutional investors were net buyers only on Monday, with 55.7 million ringgit before turning to net sales for the rest of the week. Now, in total, they recorded net sales amounting to 328.9 million ringgit. Local retailers, however, were net buyers throughout the week, with a total net purchases of 29.3 million ringgit. Meanwhile, the average daily trading volume declined across all investor classes. Local retailers saw the steepest drop at 45%, followed by local institutions and foreign investors. Malaysia Airports Group recorded 12.4 million passengers movements in July this year. Now, this marks a 7.3% increase from the previous month and sets a new monthly high post-pandemic. In a statement issued today, the group said the growth was largely driven by the local airports, which recorded 8.5 million passengers movements, comprising 4.5 million international passengers and 4 million domestic passengers, representing an 8% rise month-on-month compared to June this year. It noted that international passenger movements increased by 11% month-on-month, while domestic movements grew by 5%. It also said key markets such as Indonesia, China and Singapore continued to dominate in July. The addition of Qingdao Airlines and increased frequencies by airlines to and from China and Indonesia contributed to a total seat capacity recovery of 85.8%. Meanwhile, Malaysia Airport's Turkish asset Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen International Airport recorded 3.9 million passenger movements in July, marking a 6% increase from the previous month. Still ahead, Paetongtarn looks forward to advancing Thailand-Malaysia ties. The government will decide whether the humanitarian mission to bring injured Palestinian civilians to Malaysia for treatment will be continued. Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said so far the entry of Palestinian civilians has been limited to those who were brought in last Friday.
The minister stated that the Palestinians who arrived in Malaysia for treatment on Friday are currently receiving proper care.
Okey semua, saya percaya bahawa kita akan beri rawatan yang rapi dan sewajarnya. Jadi buat ketika ini mereka dalam keadaan dirawatlah. Dia tak boleh rawat satu hari itu. Ini yang panjangnya. Yang jenis-jenis kecederaan yang memerlukan rawatan yang panjang.
Last Friday, two Royal Malaysian Air Force Airbus A400 aircraft carrying 41 injured Palestinians and 86 family members landed safely at the Subang Air Base in Selangor at around 2 p.m. after taking off from Al-Mazar Air Force Base in Cairo, Egypt on Thursday night.
Newly appointed Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra today expressed their resolve to work closely with Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim to advance Malaysia-Thailand bilateral relations. In a post on X, Paetongtarn thanked the Malaysian Prime Minister for his congratulatory message on her appointment and highlighted the long-standing friendship between the two nations as close neighbours and partners.
She said relations between both nations have enjoyed a very positive momentum thanks to the close partnership between Datuk Seri Anwar and former Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin. She looks forward to working closely to further advance Thailand-Malaysia friendship and mutually beneficial cooperation for the peoples of both countries. She wrote this on her X account on Monday. Paetongtarn, 37, takes office as Thailand's Prime Minister on 18 August after being endorsed by King Maha Vajiralongkorn. She was elected as the new Premier to succeed Srettha Thavisin by Parliament on Friday.
Coming up next in sports, matching grants for states to upgrade sports facilities. Stay with us. The Youth and Sports Ministry is considering providing matching grants to all states for the upgrading of sports facilities. Minister Hanayo said the matching grant provision would follow the model used in the National Football League, where each state is given 500,000 ringgit.
Saya nak guna model seperti Liga Bola Sepak di mana kita bagi 500,000 untuk setiap negeri, tetapi negeri itu kena mainkan komitmen mereka.
She was met today at the Pandalila Rinong Aquatic Centre in Putrajaya to witness the 21st Malaysia Games Sukma 21 diving events. On the development of diving in the country, Yeo said she had asked the technical director to look into bringing in young prospects not just for Sukma. She called on state governments to consider increasing their allocations for sports development when planning their budgets.
Pep Guardiola praised Manchester City's attitude to defy a disrupted pre-season and get their Premier League title defence off to a winning start by beating Chelsea 2-0 on Sunday. Goals from Erling Haaland and Mateo Kovacic inflicted defeat on Enzo Maresca in his first match in charge of the Blues.
Cities were shorn of all four of their Euro 2024 finalists, Rodri, Kyle Walker, John Stones and Phil Foden, from the start, as Guardiola opted to give them extra time off to recover from their summer exertions. The likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Ruben Dias and Manuel Akanji played the 90 minutes despite their late return to the training after reaching the knockout stages of the Euros. Yet the champions were still able to lay down a marker against one of the few sides they failed to beat in the league last season. The lack of pre-season minutes for many on shows was apparent in the more pedestrian pace than normal for a major Premier League clash. Chelsea did most of the pressing for an equaliser but offered City chances to extend their lead in doing so.
Francis Tiafoe pulled off a comeback to remember in Cincinnati on Sunday night, rallying from 5-2 down in the third set and even fighting off 2 match points, serving at 4-5 to defeat Holger Rune in the semi-finals of the Master 1000 event. With a 4-6, 6-1, 7-6 win, he is now through to the 9th and biggest final of his career.
Rune got the only break of the first set to go 5-4 up and then served out on the frame before Tiafoe stormed through the second stanza in 25 minutes to force a decider. The Dane raced out to a 5-2 lead, but Tiafoe then followed a routine service hold with a break to love and then saved 2 match points on his serve to get to 5-all. The players went on to a tie break that ended when Rune sent a shot long. Tiafoe finished the match with 25 winners to 19 unforced errors, including an incredible 13 aces to just 1 double fault. With the win, Tiafoe becomes the first American to reach the final since John Isner in 2013. Awaiting the American in Monday's final will be world number 1 Jannik Sinner, who also won an absolute battle in his semi-final, sneaking past world number 4 Alexander Zverev.
All right, so that's it from us this evening in our top story. Putra 35, a major shift in advancing Bumiputra development. Malaysia Madani, Jiwa Merdeka. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.